right, good evening, everyone. Welcome. Dr. Stacy here. Excited you decided to join us this evening, or maybe you're catching the replay. I want to share a little bit about LifeWave's technology with you. We're going to have a couple people that share their personal testimonials. We had two fantastic testimonials last week. So if that's you and you want to share your personal experience in, a minute or two, three tops, here in just a little bit, I'll be, letting you unmute. If it is you, will you please put your name in the chat? Like, hey, I want to share. It's me. I want to tell my story. I would love to have a couple of you that do that. And then we'll do a little Q&A at the end. So if you have specific questions and I don't address them during the information I'm going to be sharing, drop those in the chat. So I want to be able to answer any questions that you have as well too. So with that being said, I am not a medical doctor. I have a PhD in integrative medicine and a PhD in functional medicine. So my world is in the holistic, alternative, all the tools in the toolbox of things to keep you healthy, or if you're not, help you get back into balance so you can have the best quality of life. And specifically tonight, I'm going to be talking to you about LifeWave's technology. And we're going to focus on talking about the X39, our stem cell activation patch. This is our flagship product in LifeWave's line. Now, David Schmidt is the owner of the company. He is the inventor of this technology, and he's invented 10 different patches over the last 20 years. But for time purposes, we're going to stay focused on the X39. So this is what our patch looks like. It is a round sticker. I know, it's sticky on one side, smooth on the other. Looks like a little Band-Aid, but this is actually a wearable light technology. This is a non-transdermal patch. And what that means is when I put this on my body, there's no medicine, no herb, no nutrient that enters through my skin into my body. Transdermal patches do that, like birth control or hormone patch or pain patch. We're not like that at all. So when I put this on my body, the only thing that enters is a wavelength of light. Now, I'm sure you're probably familiar with light therapy. It's gaining a lot of ground here recently, even though it's been here since literally this universe was created. But when we look at light therapy, we think of lasers, like at the chiropractor or your acupuncturist, red light laser, blue light laser, cold laser. Or we think of red light therapy, maybe for the face, masks or ball caps they have now that have red light therapy, and then for hair growth, or maybe it's the red light therapy pads that you put on your body for pain and inflammation. They even have a thing that looks like a tanning bed, but it's a red light therapy bed. Or maybe you're familiar with an infrared sauna. Wavelengths of light from the sauna. We have one in our gym. You push a button and it detoxes. You push a different button, different wavelengths of light come out, and it helps to anti-age, or different button, cardiovascular benefits. So those are all forms of light therapy. And as I mentioned, since literally the creation of our universe, the sun has been a primary source of light therapy. We know if we go outside in the sun that specific wavelengths of light enter our skin and elevate our melanin, elevate our vitamin D. So we know that light that we don't see or feel enters the body and it creates some type of change. That's phototherapy. That is like our patch in a way, but different because we don't need the sun, we don't need a sauna or a laser or a red light therapy pad in order for this to work. We just have to put it on. And when we get up in the morning, we put it on, and you can put it on the back of your neck or below your belly button. That's the place in the instruction booklet. But I'm putting it here so you can see it. You can put it anywhere, it doesn't matter, because it's working with my body's heat, the heat or light that I emit. I'm sure you've heard of thermal imaging. We do that now for breast exams. You can do that full body exams to look at the thermal imaging, like the inflammation areas in the body. But if we went outside at night, which it will be dark here shortly, if I look through night vision goggles, I could see the animals or the people in the distance because I would see the outline of the heat or light that their body is emitting in colors: red, blue, green, orange, yellow. You know what I'm talking about. So with all of that being said, I'm getting up in the morning and put my patch on, I'm brushing my teeth. I don't see or feel anything happening, but immediately a wavelength of light from the patch enters my body. And that wavelength of light elevates one peptide. Now, we don't have a whole lot of time to get into this, but it elevates GHKCU copper peptide. That peptide is known as the fountain of youth. That's what's most commonly known in creams and serums in the esthetician world. GHK as a peptide is in your body when you're born. And by the time you're in your 60s, you've got about 20% of it that's left. It declines as you age. Hence the fact that you don't have the fountain of youth anymore when you're in your 60s, right? And beyond. So when you elevate GHK, your own GHK, a lot of amazing things happen. We can see wound healing sped up 40 to 50%. We can see reduction of inflammation, pain in the body, cardiovascular benefits, neurological benefits like brain fog just gone, right? Clarity, focus, concentration, physical energy, better quality of sleep. These things start to happen when we elevate GHK because remember, when you had a bunch of GHK, this peptide in your body, peptides are just chains of proteins, amino acids. When that was abundant in your body, you had all of those things, right? You didn't have pain, you didn't have inflammation, you had great mental clarity, you slept amazing, right? You just had tons of energy. So the biggest thing we're going to talk about tonight with the X39 is when we elevate GHK, we actually upregulate or reset over 4,000 of your genes back to their young, healthy state, hence the fountain of youth. One of the genes is responsible for activating, elevating, and mobilizing your own stem cells. Now, we know stem cells are the holy grail of healing. So we have just now elevated a peptide that triggers the fountain of youth, and we have elevated our own stem cells, which we know are the holy grail of healing. We had an abundance of stem cells when we were a kid. That's again why we're young and youthful, right? Body's functioning correctly. But again, by the time we're in our 30s, half of those stem cells, by the time we're in our 60s, less than 10% are active in our body. They're there, they're just dormant, tired, worn out. Hence the degeneration or aging process. So when you elevate your own stem cells over time, you find that your body gets back into balance. Things become repaired, regenerated, restored, rejuvenated, back to your younger, youthful, healthy state. Or back into just homeostasis, right? We know that people are out of balance. Things are not functioning the way they used to. Maybe it's diet choices, lifestyle choices. Maybe there was an accident or an injury. Maybe it's stress related, but the body gets out of balance. A lot of toxicity, right? With our food, our water, and our environment, and our stress, nutrient deficiencies in the body. So a lot of things throw the body out of balance. One thing leads to the next, and you're not feeling your best. So what we do is we put on the X39 in the morning, we leave it on 12 hours, and then we take it off and we throw it away. Or, of course, we can put it on our pet. And then the next morning we get up and we put on a brand new patch. Again, not seeing anything, feeling anything, but I know that I'm elevating GHK. How do we know that? I know I'm activating stem cells. How do I know that? Because we've done clinical studies. And the person that invited you can definitely send you the information on those studies. We have double-blind, placebo-controlled studies that show we actually elevate GHK in the blood with a wavelength of light from this patch, and we activate stem cells. Our patent says that as well, too. So you know, scientifically, you don't get a patent unless what you say is happening, right? And so we can also see this as a progression in our studies from days and weeks and months, even years of use from this technology, the impact in the body on organ function, system function, cellular function. We do not look at diseases. Okay, the body wasn't born with a disease, so we aren't looking at that. Dis-ease is the body out of balance. We know something's wrong with some organ, some system in the body, right? Cellular function is not what it should be. And so when we use this technology, we are helping the body put it back into ease, into balance, into homeostasis. And that happens over time. So we recommend 1 month for every decade you are old to wake up those dormant stem cells. Now, when you start using LifeWave's technology, you've got your grocery list, right? You have your list of problems, your issues, your symptoms, things you want to address. You are going to keep track of those on the health tracker, and whoever invited you can send you that health tracker so you can rate yourself in these categories on a scale of 1 to 10 and track at least your first 90 days worth of progress. But know that it takes time to activate those stem cells. Obviously, it took time for them to become dormant. Thank God it doesn't take 40, 50, 60 years. But it's going to take some months. So, a month for every decade you are old. Say you're in your 70s, it took 7 months to wake them all up and get them doing what they want to do what they did when they were younger. It means that you're going to notice things along the way. This is not a quick fix, right? And the longer you patch, the more that you will see. Things will change over time. Your body's stem cells will prioritize where needs the help first. You may have a knee issue and you want this stem cell patch to fix your knee so you don't have to have a surgery, but yet your heart is in a mess or your kidneys are not functioning up to par. And so your stem cells will determine where they go. We can't direct them. So the two things that people ask me before we go to our testimonials, and again, if you're just coming on, I'm looking for two people that want to share their personal experience in just a minute or two. Here's what was wrong with me. These are the patches I started using, and here's where I am now. So if that's you, you can either throw your hand up on your little tab on your screen there, or you can type it in the chat for me. That would be fantastic. Okay. Either way. So two questions. Question number one. Will it work for my condition or issue? The answer between A and Z is yes. Will it work for any condition or issue? Yes. A to Z, yes. Doesn't matter what it is. You don't even need to tell me. The answer is yes. The second question everyone asks is how long will it take before I notice something? The answer is I have no clue. There's no rhyme or reason. Some people see things faster than others. Some it takes forever. I had a lady I Zoomed with today. 3.5 years later, a massive thing got checked off her list. And yeah, I said 3.5 years. She's been patching for 3.5 years. Basically, this is the way I look at it. All we have is time, right? I'm putting this sticker on every day. I'm staying consistent. I'm staying hydrated. I'm going to let my body heal in the order it's supposed to. Time's going to go by no matter what. I'm either going to get older or I'm going to get younger. I'm either going to cross things off my list or I'm going to add more things to my list. And this technology allows you to cross things off the list as the time goes on. I've been patching just over 4 years. For me, it wasn't about the health problems. I didn't have any of those, but I've always wanted stem cell injections. I've always wanted to utilize stem cells for 25 years because I know the power for prevention, for vitality, for overall wellness and longevity. And when I look at my biomarkers being half, like my biological age is half. I'm technically 25 years old on paper when you look at my organ function, cellular function, system function, looking at the way my body's functioning, the way I feel, the way I do things, I'm 25, right? But technically I'll be 51 in a couple weeks. So when you look at that in terms of long term, like it's not just about lifespan, but it's about health span. So a 25-year-old's heart doesn't function the same way as a 50-year-old's. 25-year-old's kidneys, liver, lungs, brain, not in the same category of someone in their 50s or beyond, right? So we look at prevention. I'm looking at prevention. How can I keep myself young and healthy? I'm going to put on this little sticker every day. I'm going to stay hydrated, do all my practices, all the great things that I do, and I'm going to go about my day and continue to reverse my age and hang out in my 20s. It sounds great. My son's 20, so we're in our 20s together, and we act like it, and we travel like it, and we work out like it, and we sleep like it. We do, because that is the power of this technology. So with that being said, Glenda Sue, you want to share your quick story on C4 and C5? Let me get you to unmute. Glenda Sue. Fantastic. I'm talking, give me a minute, two tops, girlfriend.
Okay, so I was working in the Department of Neurosurgery at UAMS in Little Rock, Arkansas. And I went to Colorado Springs for a weekend, came back. The whole weekend, my left arm was like killing me. And said to my neurosurgeon principal, I said, I'm dying here and I have all weekend. He goes, let's go get an MRI. So when you work there, you go down, you get an MRI. Sure enough, I had herniated C4, C5 in my neck from an old car wreck when I was a teenager. And this is 30 years ago. So I somehow managed, he said, I don't want to put you under the knife. And here's a secret. He said, they have a tendency to heal themselves. Well, It never totally healed itself, but I got on tramadol for 30 years, and lo and behold, praise God, I am off of that pill. How about that?
Wow. Yay. That is
Yeah,
amazing.
big time. Yeah.
Congratulations, Glenda Sue. Thank you for sharing. Congratulations. I love it. I love it. I love it. All right. Anyone else want to share? Share your personal experience. Tracy, are you on here? Or is it Lori? Is Tracy there? Oh, I see one, both of you. Tracy, can you come on and share yours if you don't care? I don't know which one it is. Tracy.
Or
Okay, I know I
Emilda
told him. I
also.
told him it was confusing. Um, and we just got out of the spa, so I don't know if he has a shirt on. Let's go see.
Well, both
I
of them
do.
are unmuted. So,
Go ahead.
Okay. Well, where do I start? I was not a one patch wonder. It took me a while before I could notice really anything. I think the first thing that I was really aware of was actually when my dentist observed that my gums were looking amazing. And I had had really bad periodontal disease, like really bad, where they stick that tool in your gums and they're counting numbers. Right. It was bad. And because of that, my gums were bleeding. I had really bad tooth sensitivity. Don't talk to me about popsicles. Out of the question. Things that were hot were too hot. And they were talking about on two visits in a row about my having to have tissue transplants in my gums and a referral out to a periodontist. And I never went. And then a visit about the next 6 month visit, they said, Tracy, what have you done? Your gums look amazing. Because I've never seen somebody else's gums reversed like that. And so I told the dentist briefly, because they're in and out really quick, but the hygienist is still on the patches.
wow. Wow.
So that was just like, the real physical thing, like it's a big deal. But I keep noticing things over time. And that's the key is like you can't tell the stem cells where they're going to go. And so I
Tell me
have a
about your
history.
face. Yeah, tell me about
Yeah,
your face.
I've had over 30 skin cancer surgeries. And thank God I haven't had one for about 3 years now. But we're talking serious stuff. And I had a squamous cell right here in this cheek. And they took out a chunk about the size of a $50, which is a big hole to have in your cheek, right? So I have to make a big incision to close it so that doesn't like pucker in your cheek, right? So you can still kind of see the scar like down here, all the way down below my chin. You can see the
Oh,
little bit right
mm-hmm.
there. It's
Yeah.
like I had a facelift on half my face because this side has no wrinkles. This side does. This side doesn't, right? But as a consequence, I had no feeling on this side of my face for years, right? And just this last like 2 months ago, the feeling came back to my cheek.
Mm.
And slightly at first, and now it's just like it's got to be at least 70, 80%. It's still less than this side, right? But it's just a crazy thing. Those stem cells working on those nerves. It took a while, but it's amazing. I'm just like thrilled with it.
And they want to know what patches are you using and how long have you been patching?
So I've been patching now for 3 years, and I am the most consistent with the X39 and the glutathione. And so like every other day, that's what I'm wearing. And then every other day I'm like wearing everything. Like I got the X39 on the back of my neck, the X49 below my belly button. I got the Eon also behind my neck because I have like spinal stuff going on, and the carnosine on my chest. But the long term
Mhm.
over the years, it's been X39, Eon, and the glutathione.
Fantastic. So you're elevating your stem cells, you're reducing the inflammatory process in your body. And of course, we know that glutathione is liquid gold inside of the body. We know it detoxes and
Yeah.
boosts the immune system, but that's liquid gold. So,
When I think about what's healed my lungs over time, it's the X39 and the glutathione patch.
mhm. Yeah, fantastic. Thank you, Tracy, for coming on right out
Sure.
of the spa. Thank you for jumping on and sharing your personal testimonial. He shared that the other day on a Zoom. I was like, oh, Wow. Like, and yeah, you said 3 years, and it's just been 2 months now that he has actual feeling. I think you said you were shaving and you could feel your face. I mean, that's major, but yet it took time for the body to prioritize that. First, it went right to his teeth, to his gums, major issues that needed addressing. The body addressed that first. So thank you for sharing. So we do have a couple questions in the chat. If you have questions, please drop them in the chat. I would appreciate it. I'll answer those in order. So Stacy's asking, what in the patch wears out that it no longer activates your stem cells? If it's reflecting your own light, why would it stop reflecting? So that's a really great question. We say, and this is not a sales tool, trust me, because David has literally over 90 clinical studies to support this is the most effective way to utilize all the patches, is to wear the patch for a 12-hour period, take it off, throw it away, and get up the next morning and put on a brand new patch. So let me tell you why. There's a couple things, okay? So yes, we know that the patch reflects specific wavelengths of light, depending on which patch it is, back into the body that stimulate biochemical processes, right? Elevating different peptides or triggering things like beta oxidation in the body. Depends on what patch it is. The light reflective capability of this does not wear out in the sense of like a battery or a chemical depletion, okay? Inside of this white part, this white part right here, this white cloth, there is a crystal lattice structure. That is what David has invented. That is a solution of molecules, organic molecules that are formed together in a very specific pattern. That is a lattice structure that is reflective. So when we put it on our body's heat, light hits that, reflects back that specific wavelength of light. So this lattice structure holds a set like charge, right? A set structure for a designed, defined period of time, which is about 12 hours. After that, we see that it starts to break down that structure because, again, we're working with our body's heat. We are about 100 degrees, okay? So that biophotonic exchange of information is hanging on as long as it can, and that's about a 12-hour window. That's what David's seen from, and many doctors and researchers around the globe have studied this technology, and that is available for you to look at if you'd like to look at those studies. But that's what we see, that degradation starting to happen around that 12-hour period. The matrix can't hold together. The lattice structure can't hold together. And so we're not getting the benefits. But then let me tell you something else, okay? Because I said take it off and put it on your pet. There's a little bit left, right? There may be a little benefits for the pet. Now, if your pet weighs 120 pounds, stick on a brand new full patch. But for my 35-pound Frenchie, she gets our patch when we take it off, either my husband or myself, whoever takes it off first, and she gets that patch on the back of her little behind back there, because that's the only place she can't reach. So we put it back there, and then she gets to sleep in it. But if we continue to patch past that 12-hour period, we're continuing to try to signal that peptide, right? Or signal that process. Activate, go, go, go. Your body will do what's called attenuation. And attenuation says, been there, done that. You're trying too hard. You're doing too much. Back off. I'm not going to respond anymore. And we can kind of equate it to a light. We have lights on in the evening, right? If you left these lights on 24/7 all day long, every single day, do you think they're going to burn out a lot faster than if you actually just turn them on or off when they were needed? So we turn on the patch when we need it, right? We wear it when we need it, and we take it off to give our body the break to be able to repair and regenerate, sift and sort, move things around in there that need to be, done, right? Your body knows how to heal itself, but you've got to give it some time to have a break, okay? So that's a great question. Fantastic. I promise it's not a sales technique to do that. People are like, well, you just want to sell more patches. No, we really don't. We just want you to have the best results. So for the inflammation, X39 and Eon. Eon is the patch that reduces inflammation in the body, and that patch is going to be able to help with the reduction of the inflammation, many different inflammatory markers, your C-reactive proteins, your cytokines, your homocysteines, fibrinogen lipids. It also brings your nervous system into a parasympathetic state, which is that calm, rest, relax, digest. We call it our happy patch. So it helps with that nervous system regulation. You know, your body is not going to heal if you're stuck in fight or flight mode, you're stressed, you're worried, you're anxious. Your body just can't heal. It just does not work that way. Your nervous system has to be in a calm, relaxed, balanced state. And Eon's going to do that for you as well too. So we like to partner 39 and Eon together because X39 is going to elevate stem cells, right? Get your stem cells moving around. And we know that inflammation is a consumer of stem cells. So we're going to reduce the inflammation in the body at the same time we're elevating our stem cells. So we call that the dynamic duo. I know I said we were only going to talk about 39, but Eon always works a way in there because it is our number 2 patch. It was number 1 patch before X39 came on the market 6 years ago. So we have just a few minutes left. Any last questions that you have? Drop them in the chat. That would be fantastic. Just or you can, oh, Tracy, Lori, do you have a question?
Yeah, can you explain a little bit about why David chose this marketing model for, for his venue? Because I know some of the story with him, or if this is not the best time, that's okay, because it's not the topic of the science, it's the topic of why he chose this. Because I know he wasn't looking at creating a marketing system like this during the time when 9/11 happened and he was working with the Navy SEALs. And I was just wondering if you can talk a little bit about that.
Okay, absolutely. We did have one other question in here. Why is, and I'll get to that, Lori, right here at the end, but why is hydration important or how important is it? So your body needs water, period. Half your body weight in ounces every day, more if you're outside sweating right now in the summer or if you're consuming caffeine, coffee, or alcohol, things like that. So our cells, I watched David's video the other day of the importance of hydration in the aging or reverse aging process. Our cells shrink as we age, just in a nutshell. So they have the ability to hold less water. There's less collagen in the cells, so there's less water in the cells. So there's less communication from cell to cell. Things are not functioning the way they're supposed to be or they should be. We need that hydration at the cellular level. And we've always used Celtic sea salt or Redmond sea salt, put a couple crystals underneath your tongue before each glass of water, pull the water into the cells, into the tissues. So if you're just drinking water, and you're peeing it out, you're not hydrated. You want to hydrate at the cellular level. This is a cellular technology. So cell to cell communication is very important. And using this technology with water is a must. Like you probably are going to feel horrible if you don't drink the water. You'll probably feel dehydrated. You may feel woozy or nauseous. You may feel fatigued. Like you're not going to be a happy camper. Water is important to the success of your patch. It's important to your life, period. Okay. David even talks about in this video about water. They've used water. Part of my PhD in integrative medicine was a whole pioneering history on, where medicine started, and they used to use water to heal people. So water's powerful. We've got to have it. If you don't like it, you're an adult, get over it. Put lime in it, right? I do lime, lemon, strawberry, pineapple, mint, cucumber, whatever. So water is key, absolutely 100% to your success in everything of your life. Okay? So you said take off your patch and throw it away. Just throw it away. Or put it on your pet. You can stick it on a pet. That's totally fine. You can put it on their collar, band-aid it around, tape it around, whatever. I don't want to say we have a patch that regrows cartilage. Okay, again, we're not looking at that in our studies. If you listen to David's water video that he just did, he talks about the importance of collagen, elevating our collagen that declines as we age. X39 and Aloe Vita elevate our own collagen. He talks about the importance of certain nutrients like NAC, glutathione. He talks about vitamin C. So there's a combination of things when we look at helping support the body in that cartilage production in the body and keeping it there, but helping the body to regrow that. Of course, for years, you've heard glucosamine chondroitin does that. So watch the video that David just did on the water, just water, not the water machine, just water, and the importance of Celergize using that has all the nutrients that are needed in the X39 glutathione Eon. He talks about specifically for the knee with the Eon, the glutathione, the X39, and using the Celergize. So, and again, that's a time process. But to finish up, to answer Lori's question, David has been a scientist, a researcher, an inventor his entire life. He's in his early 60s. He was 22 plus years ago working for the Navy SEALs. He was contracted by the U.S. Department of Defense. So he was inventing survival equipment for the SEALs for their mini submission. That's when they asked him to help with the problem with the stimulants and the uppers and caffeine amphetamines. And so he invented the energy enhancer patch, which triggers beta oxidation in the body, turns body fat into fuel, and things were going great for the SEALs. And as Lori mentioned, 9/11 happened here in the US. And of course, the Department of Defense pulled out to protect our country, bear more arms. And David then went to Stanford University, a good buddy, Richard Quick, 6-time USA Olympic swim coach, and he had female gold medalist athletes, took the patches there, said, hey, can we do some clinical studies? I need some proof that this really works. This was supposed to be a secret undercover black ops thing. And I'm now going to bring this to the world, but I want research. So he did 2 years of clinical studies there at Stanford. And of course, you have access to see all of those. They're available. The person that invited you can get them to you. But after that point, what was happening was people were coming to him and saying, hey, so-and-so told me about your patch. So-and-so told me about your patch. How can I get this? And he'd be in different places or traveling somewhere, and someone sitting next to them on the airplane would say, what do you do? Blah, blah, blah. And the next thing you know, he'd get a call from somebody else. Hey, this guy that you met on the airplane, he recommended me to you. So anyway, long story short, David was not a fan of the model of network marketing. It was just, he'd seen that presentation in college. And again, he's in his 60s now. So he said he'd seen the presentation in the college, wasn't impressed. So he decided, after all of these coincidences, that he might want to give it another shot at taking a look at this model, because this seems to how people are coming to him about this product. It's word of mouth. It can't be something that goes on the shelf at Walmart or GNC. Like, you're not going to just pick this up and be like, oh, I know what to do with this. I know what this is. I'm going to go home and use it. It's not your traditional patch. And instruction booklet's not really going to cover it, right? So it's people having experiences sharing with people. So he decided in 2004 to start the company LifeWave, just over 20 years ago, with the model of word of mouth marketing, people telling people, people sharing with people their experiences one by one. And that is how he has grown this business the last 20 years. That's what he is 100% committed to continuing to do, not selling out, not, have a field of distributors that are now gone. And it's just buy it on, whatever line, whatever. No, that's not happening. He has decided to stay this way because this is what has allowed us sharing with people all over the world in platforms just like this. And this is literally out of his mouth when I was with him in Switzerland a few weeks ago. This is allowing him, this model with us helping him, is allowing him to stay in the lab. It's allowing him to stay and create and invent the things that he has that are mind-blowing, right, that we already know and coming. But then what I know that he shared even in the next 2 to 5 years is even more mind-blowing. And he's inventing these things. He's creating these things, literally being downloaded these ideas and been able to work and act on them because we are out sharing this technology, which is changing the world. We have millions of people around the globe in 82 countries that are patching, that are experiencing results every day. We have thousands and thousands of recorded testimonials, just like 2 you heard tonight, that are mind-blowing. They're life-changing, whether it's an acute situation, issue or whatever, or it's something that's been going on chronic for a long time. This technology has the ability to help people no matter what is going on. And so this is his chosen platform, the platform that he has fallen in love with and has built this entire business around. And being a person that holds over 200 patents, he's not your typical CEO that's out there, rah, rah, let's go do this. Let's go make me money so you can check out my island or my jet or my helicopter or my 12,000 million square foot garage full of cars. That's not David. David, again, is passionate about being in the lab, inventing, creating things to help humanity improve their quality of life. So for those of us that are brand partners that are here sharing this with all of you, maybe that are guests or you're hearing this recording, this is something we're passionate about because we love being a part of this mission that impacts people's lives. And I bet David would probably agree. I always say this, When you drop that stone in the water, that ripple effect, that's why I'm here to impact hundreds and thousands and millions of people's lives by sharing this technology. And you don't have to have all the science and tech down. You don't have to be a doctor or nurse or anything. You have to be a person that cares, just that cares about other people and share that with them. You don't, again, I said we have a health tracker, so anyone can look at the health tracker. They can read exactly the information I just shared with you guys tonight. It's all there on the health tracker, so they can track their progress. They can watch, their improvements over the months and over the years with patching, just like those of us on here that shared tonight are. And so if you're interested in using this technology yourself, or maybe for someone in your family, then get back with the person that invited you. They're going to help you get set up with your wholesale account to be able to purchase the patches that you want for your family at the best discounted price. And of course, they'll be able to work with you and help you. If you're interested in sharing with others, we do weekly Zooms where we come together just like this and we share the information about the technology, how it works. We hear testimonials and we get questions answered. So next Tuesday, I will be interviewing Dr. John Harmon. I've interviewed him many times. He's a chiropractor, brain specialist. He's 70 plus years old. Incredible heart story. And he's going to be talking to us about not only the patches, but also the Celergize and how this elevates nitric oxide, which is critical to your life, period, but how that impacts your cardiovascular system. And if you've caught the last 2 weeks on Tuesdays, I've interviewed different people each week that have shared their experience. They've been patching for years and had great results. And when they added that Celergize, next level things happen. So come back next Tuesday, bring friends, bring guests, this exact same Zoom, 8 p.m. Eastern, and hear from Dr. Harmon that shares more information with you about LifeWave's technology and the cardiovascular benefits. And then we'll look forward to seeing you all on another Zoom soon. Thank you all for being here.